Too many of us are killing our gardens with overwatering. Now, how do we know when to water? Exactly how much to water? Well, stick around because today I'm going to show you how to eliminate the guesswork and to make sure that your soil is thriving. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Jordan and today we are going through moisture and watering. I mean, it is one of the fundamental things to get right in the garden, and it is easily one of the places where most people can go wrong. When we go wrong with watering, this can cause so many issues in the garden, and it's just such a simple thing to fix as long as we know how much we need to be watering and when. But before I show you the way in which I accurately can tell how much moisture is in the soil, I'm going to talk about why we need to be worrying about moisture and what that means for the life underneath the soil. Now, just like every other living thing, including us humans and animals and all of these types of things, we all need oxygen in order to survive. And that is absolutely no different for the organisms that live within our soil. If there is no oxygen present in the soil, then all of these organisms are going to die. This also goes the same for dry soil. If the soil is too dry and we have no moisture, these organisms are also going to die, just like us. If we don't get water, then things aren't going to be going so well for us either. Now, water in our soil is crucial because that allows the transfer of nutrients. You imagine nutrients being carried through the soil with the water. Now, also in and around each of the soil aggregates, there is a thin layer of moisture, and that is where a lot of our microorganisms can live and exist, in these gaps and spaces around the soil particles, in the moisture and in the air. So if we don't have both of those components, both moisture and air, in a good balance, then all of these organisms don't have a place to live, and then therefore are not going to be able to do their job as we would like. I'm going to take you down under some more chop and drop that I did the other day. Look at all this. This is rich, dark soil that we've been creating on top of this garden bed. Excuse me, roots. I'm going to come in and just grab some here. Look at this. The roots have enough ability to push through the different soil aggregates. When I squeeze the soil, it holds together like a nice clump, and then if I lightly press it, it all crumbles apart in my hand into this beautiful crumb structure. This structure allows organic matter to hold moisture, so the organic matter content is going to change across different soils and moisture holding capacity. The crumb structure is also allowing air to penetrate into there, some oxygen transfer in and out of the soil. Now, different soil structures are going to be able to have different water holding capacities, like I said. So if you have a sandy soil, if you've got a moisture level that's 50%, so 50% of that soil volume is moisture, that's not going to last very long because a sandy soil is going to let go of a lot of that moisture. Whereas if we have clay soil, it's holding on to so much moisture, so 50% is going a lot further along. Now, there are so many different methods that we can use to measure how much moisture is in our soil. And you may have heard of the simple finger method where you just literally stick a finger into the soil, and if it comes out dry, it's dry, it needs watering. And that can be a simple method, but we're not necessarily getting an accurate idea of the moisture content throughout that soil. We don't really know how much moisture is holding in just from that simple test. You may remember this pineapple sage was having a little bit of trouble with moisture. We can see the browning off of the leaves on the edge. I was getting the moisture wrong in this instance, and we were having too much of it, and it was actually causing some of the root system down here to go a little bit moldy and get a little bit yuck, which causes it to go anaerobic, which means there's no ability for that oxygen to be in the soil to help out that plant. There's another example of this stinging nettle, actually. I've moved it out here into the sun because it was in a really shady spot. But you can kind of see there's a little bit, I've got to be careful not to touch this, but there's a little bit of white fluff sort of occurring around the bottom of the roots there. And that can be a little bit moldy. It means that this root system is not getting enough oxygen and it is starting to go anaerobic and have all these things eat it. So I've moved it out into the sun, so hopefully it's going to dry out a little bit more up here. So how do we avoid this? How do we find out exactly how much moisture is in the soil so that we avoid all of these problems that come with overwatering? Now, let me introduce to you a little bit of technology that I've been using over the past few years, mostly in my pot plants, but I've decided to bring it out here into the garden to show you a really good example of how these can be used in actual garden beds and soil as well. Man, it's still the end of February and I'm cooking out here in the garden still, so I have to move into the shade. But this is what we're after today. This little device is a moisture meter from the company Ecowitt. Now, these moisture meters are insanely cheap and incredibly easy to use. What you do is you pop it into the soil up to this level up here. And what that does is this measures the electrical conductivity of the soil, the electrical signals, the ability for it to move through the soil. Now, water conducts electricity a lot more than dry soil does. So this can tell us the percentage of soil volume that contains water. A very interesting and very useful percentage to know. This particular one, I've just been popping right down here at the base of this soursop tree, and we just push it in up to its level on the soil there, have it all tucked in. Now that is going to be sending a signal to my phone to a really interesting and easy app that can tell us the moisture percentage of this particular part of the soil. So here on my phone, you can see the 3 different moisture meters that I've got in here. I've got an acerola one, I've got a papaya one, and then the one that we just popped in was the soursop, which you can see at the moment is reading 45% soil moisture. The papaya is slightly less moisture. We got 34% there. And then up here on the acerola is 44%. So similar soursop to acerola, but our papaya in a different section of the bed is actually less moisture. So you can see we can get totally different readings in different areas of the garden. And it's a really interesting experiment to actually take the moisture meter and just plug it in into different areas of your garden to see how they operate. There could be totally different microclimates all within a small space garden just like this one. For instance, where there's full sun, it's going to be drying out much quicker and we're going to be having a lot less moisture staying in that area. Whereas in the shade, where I'm standing underneath my feet, might be a lot more moisture because it's not evaporating as quickly. So why would we water the same, on the same schedule, the same amount in all of these different places when they require different amounts of water to survive? You tell me. So where's the sweet spot? How do we know what percentage we're actually aiming for? That papaya looks like it's coming out of my head. It looks like some really interesting headdress or some fascinator or something someone might wear. But how do we know what percentage we're aiming for with the moisture? And what percentage do most plants thrive in? Well, let me tell you. So for this particular moisture meter that's buried down underneath this acerola tree right here, we can see, if we have a look at the acerola, 44%. Now, I try and aim to keep my percentages between 30 and 50%, so 44 is right in the optimal zone. So I know I do not need to water at all in this section of the garden bed. Even the papaya at 34%, I know I don't need to water just yet. What I might do is wait until it gets to 25% or below. And then I know that there's about 25% water in comparison to the entire soil volume. When it drops below that 25%, we know that there's not enough moisture in those soil particles and in and around in those gaps. Now, yes, we've got adequate oxygen, which is great. The soil can breathe, but we don't have enough moisture to allow those free-flowing movement of nutrients and microbes in and around the soil. Alternatively, if it goes above 50%, that means that more than half of the soil is water, and that can be dangerous. We're going to be filling all of those little particle spaces with water. So we're essentially pushing the oxygen out and suffocating the roots and everything that's inside that soil. So sitting between that 30 to 50% range is absolutely optimum and an easy way of knowing, okay, I've got enough of my moisture to oxygen ratio in the soil. So you can eliminate watering as any of the problems. So like I said, I used to use these in so many of my pots because pots are one of the ones that are really difficult to know whether you've watered correctly or not. And the swing of moisture can be so drastic, especially if that pot is out in the sun. It can go from a very high 60 to 70%. I might actually saturate that entire pot completely in the morning to see by the afternoon it's already back down at 30% or 25%, something like this. So you can understand how moisture gets held in the soil, and that changes, like I said, based on the organic matter content in that soil. So it'll be very different in different areas of the garden and different pots and garden beds and things like this. But still, it doesn't change the fact that getting one of these moisture meters can just level up your gardening so easily and eliminate all of the guesswork. Too many of us are struggling with watering issues, and this is a simple way to just overcome it. Get yourself a little bit of basic cheap tech, which of course I'll be linking in the comments below. I'm not sponsored, I just really like this product, but go and check out those. There's plenty of other ones on the market, and you can get yourself an accurate reading of moisture and understand how your garden is working, how it manages water, and how we can avoid overwatering. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you learned something interesting about moisture management and watering here in the garden. If you did, please leave a like, share the video around. I know that everybody asks for these things, but it just really helps the channel. If you could drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe for more, I'd be so excited to see you here on the journey, and we can learn much more about soil health and how to level up your gardening. So thank you again for watching. Take care, and I look forward to very much seeing you on the next episode. Bye for now.